Big opportunities coming around in the market right now. We're going to talk about that today. But I also want to say, did you know I created a new YouTube for the podcast? So if you want to see the podcast and that content, make sure you subscribe to that channel. Maybe you just want that content and you don't want these weekly reports. That's fine. Whatever is helpful to you is all that matters to me. And remember, we're not only going to talk to financial professionals on this podcast. We're also going to talk to some health experts. We talked to a fitness expert, multiple PhDs. And that podcast will be out this Sunday. So make sure you subscribe to that channel if you want that content. And now let's talk about what you came here for. What's going on in the market right now? And it's looking like there's lots of opportunities building. This week was kind of a week of patience. We did get a rally today, but until this gets over 432, I'm not going to be too tempted to chase this that much. Now, there were some opportunities where I did set up some bullish plays. We played Palantir for some dailies. I swung a small portion of that position as well into next week. But when we're looking at the SPY, this doesn't really look ultra bullish to me. On the daily, we can see that we are turning over a little bit. You know, you're getting that dark purple line on the TTM squeeze. We can see the RSI is improving. It's crossed our SMA, and that has led to the rally that we saw today. Now, does this mean that there's not going to be a future plunge to lower lows? I mean, we don't have an exact touch on the fib levels. That's at the 0.5, usually your 0.618. That's your magic number. But I am just being cautious and patient there. I think that's the best way to play that right now. And I think once we break over 432, I'd be willing to be bullish and kind of chase it up to this trend line and see how the market reacts there. And I think it'll take a few months for that to play out. Now, what I did set up a play on this week was on AMD, where we have a clear breakout on the daily chart here over the next few weeks. I'd like to see this come back down and test this trend line. It's not for sure going to do that. It could just continue to rally up. However, I think the perfect setup is come back down, touch this trend line, see it turn into support, and then we can get bullish again. This is also kind of offset some other bullish plays that I had set up, such as ARM, which I think is overvalued. But hey, you know, you can't really fight the market on those. I closed that trade at a small loss, ended up making that money back and much more, both on Palantir, which we played for some dailies that I then swung into next week, and on AMD, which was fantastic. With Netflix, we did some shorts and closed those out this morning. It gave us nice exit. With if you're quicker than me, you actually came across with some profits on the weeklies. The dailies did amazing yesterday. Oh, that was a great trade. But I tried to swing some weeklies as well. If you're quick, you got like 10% there. I got out even, no losses on that trade. And I kind of want to let Netflix settle right now. I think the bottom could be, and I do want to say that in a recession, you're going to see entertainment industry do really well. I've heard some people across the FinTwit say that they think this is an opportunity to get bullish on Roku. I am not a fan of that at all. I think Netflix is different. Netflix makes most of their money off subscriptions. Roku makes most of their money off of advertising. And I think advertising will suffer during this time period. I do not put them in the same bundle of entertainment as I do companies like Netflix. Now, a recession could also make companies like Disney look appealing. We've seen lots of people in the Discord wanting to play the stock. I know it's a very political stock right now. I tend to not like it for that reason. But as you can see, this company, it seems like it has a double bottom here. Is it a bad idea to get bullish here? I couldn't argue. I couldn't make that argument right now. All right. So, maybe for political reasons you don't like this stock. I think at the price point alone, it looks appealing. Meta is another one, excuse me, that's also got my attention right now. It looks like we've hit a bottom. We didn't quite touch our 0.618 that we'd want to see, but I think we're looking at a fifth wave development here. And, this stock could break over 400 and hit all-time new highs. Unlike the S&P, which I think is in a rougher spot right now. NVIDIA is another one that I think you have to have a close eye right now. The daily is rolling over. If this goes into the green, yeah, you're going to get new highs on NVIDIA. And I know lots of people are looking at a $600 price target for this stock. it's hard to say right now. It's so hard to say. It depends on what new things come out for the AI. And AI is something you're definitely going to want to keep an eye on right now. OpenAI is rolling out some new features that allows ChatGPT to process images. I think that's a huge change. Their new image generation AI is a solid competitor for Midjourney right now. That's going to roll out new features. Well, will be a solid contender when they roll out their new features that allow them to even put text into the images. That's huge. And the detail that you can get this thing to generate images with, even saying I want a guy with a purple suit that has yellow polka dots that are, and the spacing of the dots. I mean, from what they're advertising, if you can get that level of detail on these images, I mean, this is going to be a massive tool for any creators. And maybe then Adobe and stuff starts to have to, utilize them as a service to integrate that type of software into the services they offer, or Canva, they're going to need to utilize this. If you're going to be without it, you're going to fail as a business. It's going to be an absolute must-have, or you're just going to get run over in the industry. So, maybe ChatGPT 5 also comes out, and then you see the semiconductors rally to all-time new highs. It's really hard to say. Now, my prediction, when we're looking at the S&P right now, is that we don't get an all-time new high. I see this as an ABC pattern that's playing out right now. So I think we're going to chop into the end of the year, and this 460 that we have will be the high. Now, I think that right now, as it stands, we could maybe see a double top into December or something of the like. I had it pinned on my Twitter for the end of August. That was either bearish or sideways. I still hold that opinion right now as of this time. But these are what I'm looking at in the market right now. I do also want to say that I'm still short on Square. Although I did close some of these shorts for fantastic profits right now, I'm looking for opportunities to average into the position. We can see that the daily is trying to roll over. If we see the technical slightly improving, so I think I'm going to get a nice little bounce here to be able to load up more into this trade. I'm looking at April contracts into next year as a short opportunity. I guess we should also take a moment to talk about TLT as well and what's going on here. We're continuing to break down lower and lower here. It's kept me from pushing further into this position. Let me actually pull up the week graph here so we can see, we're coming back to 2003 lows, past this. I couldn't tell you what the bottom is. The monthly looks like it's improving. Of course, it's not the best indicator because the stock doesn't go back enough for that to be really relevant. If we look at the weekly, though, we can see that we're still headed lower. I still think the sentiment here is pretty extreme. I shared it in the Discord, the fact that the TLT is one of the top 5 inflows right now for indices or indexes, and what that means, it's hard to say, because what a lot of people don't realize is that when you look at the inflows for these ETFs, you don't realize that the short interest also applies to inflows. So the fact that it's top 5 could actually be representative of how many people are short here. Now, I see that as bullish. Okay, when people start coming out and making content where they say they're bearish on bonds for the next 20 years, that seems pretty far out ridiculous to me. And so I look at that as like, okay, if we're not at the bottom, we're very close to the bottom. So I'm going to hold the position I have. And I talked about this last week. This is a year-long position. I'm going to hold that position. And just like I said back then, this position might bleed on me in the short term, but I'm going to be looking for opportunities to load in that position because I see this as a great trade opportunity that might, it might take a year. Some trades, if you're going to play macro, you got to give it lots of time. It's one data point a month. Lots of people are messaging me about what's going on with this bank. What about the student loans? What about the housing market? What about the credit issues that our consumers are going to have? And it's, this is not a car crash. This is a slowly sinking ship that might be able to patch the holes and get through it on the other side. Yeah, you're going to have some rough time periods, but this is going to play out very slowly. If you want to make a trade on that, you're going to need to give it lots of time to to equally reflect the amount of time that it's going to take to actually play out, right? These aren't very technical ideas. These are fundamental ideas. Sometimes it takes a while for the market to catch up to the fundamentals, okay? The market can be possessed by, the hype of AI or many other things. Spirit animals, lots of people like to call it, will possess it. So keep all that in mind. That's what I'm seeing for the market right now. I'm doing this weekly report kind of in one take because I'm in a bit of rush. I've got a busy day, but I wanted to get this video out because tomorrow I'm thinking we're doing a special report. I got to edit the podcast and still get that out on Sunday. And it's go, 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 trying to really maximize the amount of content I'm putting out. So please subscribe and like the video, help show some support. Hopefully at the end of this year, I'll be looking to hire some people onto the team and we'll get an editor, and it will take a lot off my chest because that would be absolutely wonderful. I hope you enjoyed though, and I will see you next week.